What's going on, everybody? Mike here with iSMELL, and yes, we are officially back at it after a long 2-month hiatus with spring in full swing. With this beautiful weather that we're having in Texas, I figured it was the perfect opportunity, an opportune time, if you will, to take my fragrances outdoors and kind of hit y'all with a different type of video than what y'all might be used to, at least in terms of a backdrop. What I have for y'all today are 10 of some of my favorite spring fragrances. Every single one of these are gonna rock perfectly for this time of year. A little bit different format than what you're used to, minimal amount of edits, and I won't be doing deep dives. This is also the first time that I've recorded outdoors, so if I'm looking around, like, y'all show some grace as it relates to that. But yeah, we're gonna jump right on into it with this first one. All I'm gonna say about this first one is if you know, you know. Fragrance number 1 comes from the house of Cartier. The name of this one is Cartier Roadster. All right, so 3 notes in particular shine on this one. It's gonna be mint, patchouli, and labdanum. The best way I know how to describe this one is mint chocolate chip. Oh, I dropped one. So the mint in here is not overly synthetic. It doesn't smell like toothpaste. The patchouli kind of gives off a chocolatey vibe, and then it has a warm, not leathery, but almost more ambery dry down with that labdanum. Beautiful fragrance in my opinion. Great performance and has a high likability factor. I did receive a compliment on this one, although it was from a 65-year-old woman, but don't get that twisted. This doesn't smell extremely old school. It came out in 2008, so it's not that old of a fragrance, but definitely one worth checking out. Perfect for spring, perfect for this type of year. So happy I have it in my collection. At the number 1 spot today from the house of Cartier, we have Roadster. And again, these fragrances are in no particular order. The second one that I'm gonna be rocking for spring that I'm gonna be recommending is for those of y'all that really enjoy tea notes in the fragrance. This one is centered around a tea note. This one comes from the house of Nishane. The name of this one is Oolong Cha. All right, so for the longest time, I heard people talking about Vintage Green 78 from Banana Republic. And then I picked that one up, realized how much I loved it. And then I started hearing people talk about this one, how it was a better version of Vintage Green 78. Now, in some respects, I will agree because this one has better performance, but in some respects, I disagree because I just have an affinity towards that fragrance in general. But what you're gonna get on this one, you're gonna get not only better performance, but it's a fragrance that wears very similar. You're gonna get the musks, you're gonna get the citruses. This is not a heavily woody fragrance. And then you're gonna get a sweet fig note blended with this earthy tea note. All in all, it's a beautiful fragrance. I will say, if you enjoy a more masculine smelling fragrance, this one might not be for you. This is unisex, leaning on a bit feminine, but if you are confident wearing a unisex fragrance, definitely pick this one up. Beautiful for spring weather. It will transition nice into summer as well, but spring is where this one's gonna shine. Definitely check it out. I am glad to have it in my collection. The verdict is not out yet as to whether I like this one more than Vintage Green 78, but this is definitely one worth having in your collection if you enjoy tea notes in your scent profiles. So at the number 2 spot, we have Oolong Cha. All right, moving on to fragrance number 3. Like I said, spring is in full bloom. Everything is green. A green fragrance is the type of fragrance you're gonna wanna rock for spring weather. And this one literally has green in the name. Fragrance number 3 comes from the house of Parfums de Marly. The name of this one is Greenly. All right, what you're gonna get with this one is basically a Dior Sauvage type of scent profile. And by that, I mean it's centered around citrus accords as well as woody and ambroxan. But with this one, you're gonna get green apple with mossy elements, both intermingling with themselves. You're getting a fragrance that does have a lot of ambroxan in it. It's kind of sweet, definitely green. So the name Greenly is fitting. Great performance, awesome longevity, high likability factor, great versatility if you're looking for just one fragrance to rock for spring and you could wear it in any occasion. Greenly's gonna do the job, and there's a certain prestige about Parfums de Marly fragrances in general. Definitely check this one out. I bought mine on Aura Fragrance. I don't know if there's any in stock, but if you can find it on there, that's the best price I have found so far. But yes, I'm very happy to have this one in my collection, and I'm gonna be wearing it all spring. I've already started wearing it, to be honest. At the number 3 spot today from Parfums de Marly, we have Greenleaf. It feels so good outside, y'all. All right, so the 4th fragrance that I'm gonna be rocking for spring weather that I'm gonna be recommending to y'all, it's a goated scent profile, one of my favorite scent profiles in general. I do have one knock on the fragrance. This fragrance comes from the house of Chanel. The name of this one is Allure Homme Edition Blanche, or Blanc. All right, so I'm gonna be a bit hacky by just mirroring other people's sentiments on this one, but they say it smells like lemon meringue pie. I don't know if it smells like lemon meringue pie specifically, but I can see where people are going with that. This one, chock full of citruses, but one citrus note stands out in particular. That is going to be the lemon, and then it's going to be blended with creamy vanilla, as well as like a warm and kind of creamy sandalwood. And all those notes work together to kind of give you a fruity, a sweet, fresh, citrusy, smooth, vanillic type of scent profile. So I can see where people are going, but this one does not smell like a gourmand per se. It's more fresh than gourmand, if anything. And it's kind of a bit too much on the vanilla side to wear for summer, so spring is kind of where this one's gonna shine. My knock on this fragrance is it has terrible performance, and then you can't see the juice level in the bottle, so you don't know. I just know my bottle's pretty light, but yeah, you have to go pretty hard on the trigger. But yeah, very beautiful fragrance. It's one of my favorites. You're gonna pay about 120 to 150 for this fragrance, but it's definitely worth having in your collection. At the number 4 spot from the house of Chanel, we have Allure Homme Edition Blanche, or Blanc. I don't know how bougie you wanna be when you say it. All right, so fragrance number 5, we are gonna be diving into the house of Zaharoff with this next one, and this one is officially my most worn Zaharoff. Now, is it the loudest, most personality out of the entire collection? I don't know, that's debatable. But me personally, this is the one I wear the most, and it's my favorite out of the line, out of the bunch. Again, from the house of Zaharoff, we have Signature Citrine. I picked this one up last year, so to have not that much of a dent into it, it says a lot, you guys. I do feel like this one transitions perfectly into spring. It does almost have a green facet to it, as the cap would convey. You're gonna get an Italian style cologne done in that aqua parma type of demeanor. But what sets this apart is the base notes that George Zaharoff and his perfumers use. This one has that resinous olibanum, almost oudi type of base notes. It smells a little vanillic in the base, and then you're gonna add spices and chock full of citruses. It's one of my favorites, y'all. It's just so good. It doesn't smell like every other citrus aromatic on the market. It has a unique factor. Again, it's not the loudest Zaharoff, but I don't need every one of my fragrances to be obnoxiously loud. This one does the job. It's a fragrance you spray on and go. You spray and refresh as you go. And I get about 4 to 6 hours, so that's not like trash performance. I definitely get better performance with this than I do this. So take that for what you want. But yeah, definitely an awesome fragrance for spring. I lean more into Coco Loco for summer, but for spring, this is definitely the one I'm reaching for the most. So again, from the house of Zaharoff, we have Signature Citrine, and that's gonna be at the number 5 spot. All right, so moving on to fragrance number 6. We're gonna be talking about a blue fragrance, but before we do that, because I know a lot of people have aversions against blue fragrances for whatever reason, so I'm gonna drop in a mass appealing alternative. So it's not a blue fragrance, but it's gonna be mass appealing. This one is from Versace. The name of this one is Eros Flame. This one works great for spring, y'all. Instead of the green apple note that Eros usually uses, they utilize a blood orange note. Sweet personality out the wazoo, and then it has that spicy effect and feeling that you would expect from a Eros type fragrance. But it's mass appealing, but it's a little bit different at the same time. It doesn't smell like every other quote-unquote blue fragrance. And that's the case with this next one too. Fragrance number 6 is officially from the house of Prada. The one I'm going to be rocking for spring is Luna Rossa Ocean EDT, not to be confused with the EDP or the new parfum that's coming out. All right, so what I like about this one is that it doesn't utilize a woody ambroxan type note that most other blue fragrances have. Like Bleu de Chanel at this point is kind of starting to smell a little bit dated, even though it's a goated fragrance as far as I'm concerned. But this one utilizes musky powdery notes. It utilizes an iris note as well as a caramel note, or caramel, however you want to say it. And it kind of gives it semi-gourmand. It doesn't go all the way there, at least not in the EDT, but it's a sweet, powdery, smooth vibe versus a generic woody backbone. And then in the top notes, you're gonna get the citruses. This is a lavender fragrance at its core though. This fragrance, in its core, it's a little hard to explain because it's like blue fragrances. It's soapy, fresh, and clean, but it's done in a little bit different fashion. It's way too dense, in my opinion, to where during the summer, you could pull this one off during the winter, but I think people would be more inclined to wear the EDP or the parfum. So I think springtime is gonna be the perfect time to rock Luna Rossa Ocean EDT. And it's the one I've been rocking. It does kind of have a unique factor. And I do know some other reviewers have been doing the blind comparisons out in the wild, and people have been gravitating to this one. So maybe check this one out for spring. Again, at the number, I believe it's the 6th spot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th spot. From the house of Prada, we have Luna Rossa Ocean EDT. All right, at the number 7 spot, we are going to be diving into the house of Hermes Classic French Perfumery. I personally think that no spring list is complete without a vetiver fragrance, and that's the direction we're going with this one. Like I said, from the house of Hermes, we have Terre de Hermes EDT. All right, so some people don't like this one, but they'll hail Terre de Hermes Eau Givrée as such a great fragrance, which it is, but it's essentially a citrus fragrance with this DNA. This is the archetype to everything else that Terre de Hermes has came out with in this line. And me personally, I really do enjoy the earthy notes that is in this one. Again, you're gonna get citrus notes, but they're not like sweet, ripe citrus. It's more like a soured citrus paired with this vetiver note, which is dry, hay-like, a little bit dusty, kind of serious. Vetiver is kind of a serious note. Some people find it a bit sour even. It's paired with that citrus, and then it has this gunmetal gray, gunflint, industrial smelling note in it. All of that's blended together, and it just smells professional. It's a fragrance that makes me feel put together every single time I wear it. Great performance, and for those of y'all that are looking for a professional cologne, you don't want to smell like everybody else out there, and you're a little bit overwhelmed and with the generic fragrances that people are just dropping. Everything just smells the same. This smells different, you know, even though it's older. I can't think of anything else on the market that smells like Terre de Hermes. It's a classic in my opinion, an all-time classic, and it's a fragrance that you should have on your shelf if you're a serious fragrance collector. At the number 7 spot from the house of Hermes, we have Terre de Hermes EDT. All right, number 8, we are going to be diving into another prestigious house. Now, whether it's niche or designer, we'll save that for another time. This one is from the house of Guerlain, and there's like a dog just running around. This one is from the house of Guerlain. The name of this one is L'Homme Ideal Cologne. All right, so this one's gonna be good for those of y'all that don't really enjoy blue fragrances, but you want a scent profile and a cologne with a similar utility. This one here is an excellent option. You will have to hunt it down though, as it is discontinued. I'm not even sure the prices on it. I've had this one now for a few years, I believe. What you're gonna get with this one is it's chock full of citruses. I might make this my scent of the day actually today. Chock full of citruses. You're gonna get a powdery almond note, a little sweet with the florals, kind of elevate the composition. But mostly you're gonna get the almond note with the citruses, kind of has like a watery effect. Beautiful fragrance, you guys. And again, like I said, it's gonna have some slight florals in the mix as well, just kind of elevate the composition. It's a beautiful fragrance, not beast mode performance, but again, if you're looking for something a bit different to rock for spring, this one will work for summer as well, but spring is where when I personally reach for it. So yeah, at the number 8 spot from the house of Guerlain, we have L'Homme Ideal Cologne. And I have been on the hunt for L'Homme Ideal Cool, but I've noticed the prices have gone up kind of high on that one. I saw a bottle for $200 last week. I was like, man, that's crazy. All right, so moving on to fragrance number 9. This one here, perfect for spring weather. I feel like it's too sweet for summer, not dense enough for winter. Spring is where this one's gonna shine. Another discontinued fragrance. This one comes from the house of Yves Saint Laurent or YSL. The name of this one is L'Homme Ultime. All right, so out of all these fragrances today, all these colognes that I'm talking about, this one, in terms of its DNA, it sparkles. Like, it just sparkles. I don't know how any other way to describe it. The DNA of this one smells so alive. For the life of me, I cannot understand as to why this one was discontinued. You're getting a very lively ginger note, zesty, zingy ginger, and it's paired with this floral rose. Not a jammy rose. No, rose is not my favorite note by any stretch, but on this one it's done so great. It's sharp. It's sharp and floral mixed with that very zingy ginger. It just pops. Both of those notes together just pop. And then synonymous with this line, you're gonna get cardamom as well as dry cedar wood. And both of those just wrangle all the notes in, and that's the dry down. Just a smooth, warm, spicy, woody dry down with that very zingy ginger that does begin to slowly dissipate, but you'd be surprised how long it lasts. There's a fragrance from Azzaro, I do believe it's Ginger Lover, kind of similar, not 100% similar, so if you can't find this one, that one will kind of get you in a similar ballpark as well, but quality is higher on this one for sure, and I have smelt both. All right, so last but not least, fragrance number 10. This one is gonna appeal to those of y'all that, similar to, I don't know if the wind's bringing the sound quality down, but similar to Parfums de Marly's Greenly, this is the type of fragrance where you could just wear it all year. This is a signature scent, but personally, I rock this one specifically for the spring, and I'll explain here in a second. This one's from Mancera. The name of this one is Cedrat Boisé. All right, so what I will say is that spring and summer are two different beasts in Texas. Summers in Texas are so incredibly hot, and although you can rock this one all year, I feel like there's a bit too much going on. I would wear a fragrance like Aventus Cologne during the summer, and then something like Cedrat Boisé during the spring. In terms of what this one smells like, it's kind of like Aventus, but not really. I think it's a bit of a stretch to call this one an Aventus Cologne. What you do get on this one is a fruit medley, a plethora of citruses, and then a plethora of spices, a medley of spices. You get a marriage between those two accords, because again, it's not one specific fruit, it's not one specific spice, and then it's blended with this black currant, which gives it kind of a smoky vibe a little bit, sweet smoky vibe, along with that oak moss, what some people say kind of makes it smell like an ashtray. Again, I think that's a bit of a stretch, but you take all those notes and you just get a masculine, citrus-dominated type of cologne that a professional man can wear all year. Specifically for spring is when I'm gonna be rocking this one. Decent performance, not beast mode by any stretch. This is not a compliment monster. This fragrance, in all honesty, is a bit overhyped, but it's a good fragrance. It's a good fragrance, and the price point is fair for a niche fragrance in general. This is one of the first niche fragrances I ended up buying, so no complaints. I don't wear it all the time, but for spring, that's when I rock it specifically, and I wear this one a lot to work. But yeah, last but not least, at the number 10 spot, we managed to keep this under 20 minutes. From the house of Mancera, we have Cedrat Boisé. I really do appreciate you checking out the video. It feels good to finally get a video out to y'all to record and outside for that matter. So it feels good. It feels refreshing to do something new. Kind of gets mundane just recording inside the house all the time. So I am happy that I was able to kind of mix it up. Let me know if this is something that you want to see in the future, and I'll do that. And as always, let me know in the comments which fragrance you would want me to send you a sample of, and I'll send you a decant. Just my way of saying thank you for checking out the full video, and just in general, leave a comment below because I haven't been in the algorithm in a while, so I could use the comments, y'all. Get me back in the algorithm so my videos populate on more people's timelines. But other than that, I really do appreciate it. I'll live stream soon, pinky promise. But I really do hope y'all appreciate the video, that y'all like the video, leave a thumbs up, all that good stuff, and I'll see y'all next time. All right, peace, bye.